Good day. We are starting this video underneath because the car is up on its stands, and I wanted to give you a quick look underneath before I take it off the stands. Sorry, that was a bit weird looking. So I put the wideband up there because it was like up there, but it didn't fit. So hopefully, hang on a minute, hang on, I think have I zoomed in? Right, so this flexi is pretty damn close to the steering rack, so I'm hoping it doesn't melt the rack or whatever happens when you get the steering racks hot. The wastegate, I'm actually tempted to move it just because it's so close to everything and an absolute pain in the ass to work on. I'm actually thinking about rerouting it so it's like down here somewhere, like here, and just vent it to atmosphere and then just block this off. But we're going to get it on the road first, I think, and see how we are. And as you can see up here, I made this like simple heat shield, which is primarily to protect the shift boot what's we call it, cables, which is like literally right above that bit where it says SAB or SAB. And then you can see the silver foily bit. The boots are inside there, and then they go up and out. Hang on, one of those is, yeah, you can see the cables are coming out of it. And let me see if I can point here. And then the other bit up there is literally just protecting heater hoses. So I think that's pretty much everything under here. As you can see, fuel lines come up underneath there, but they actually need clipping up there somehow because they're actually touching the anti-roll bar there. As you can see, like, I don't know why the fuel line's got a bit baggy. Probably wants pulling through a little bit. Yeah, all that will get, I'll put extra cable tie saddles in if I have to. 3-inch all the way back with a HKS silent power silencer at the back. And then, oh, I don't think you've ever seen the drive shafts. There's one. It's Honda on the inside, and then it's Peugeot 1.4 on the outside with the puniest little CVs. They are going to shit their pants when it gets some boost. And then this one here looks like a flashlight. That's because it was a tubular setup, so I had to, like, this is hollow, I had to replicate the tubular setup. And then it's just got the welded in end. On the Peugeot, I think it's all friction welded. This is I've actually wired up the fans today. You can see the relay is there. And I'm actually going to use this fan switch because I haven't got a clue what the Peugeot setup's going to do. Actually, this is a really good view. You can see there, I have made a water manifold for a coolant manifold for these two sensors. These two sensors are Peugeot, for the Peugeot ECU. I will explain in a minute when we get up top. Under here, so I've got this hose here which needs to connect into this bottom hose to feed from the header tank. So it's I'll probably make a fitting to go, like a pipe to go in there with a fitting, and that'll be for the header tank. As you can see, I fitted the Exo Racing relocation bracket, and I had to trim a little bit off the radiator to do a little bit of bodgery because this does not fit. This alternator is completely wrong, totally wrong. I'll go up the top in a minute and show you. I think that's it for underneath. How much clearance I've got there and here. Not much. Oh yeah, and then the turbo drain actually got some heat shielding on it, as you can see. And that goes all the way up to the turbo. Right, so, oh fuck, Jesus, getting too old for this shit. 5 minutes in already. I don't know how I managed to talk so much crap. Why are we so out of focus? This phone is crap. Right. Sorry about all the grunting. I am actually 38 now. I'm really getting on a bit. I should probably put you on hold while I do this. I could just sing Robbie Williams. Right, nearly there. Really should have put you on hold. By the way, water pissing out because I thought I would fill the screen wash and check all that out, and all that did is leak, so I've overfilled it, or it's broken. Oh my god. I'm actually ambidextrous. Can do absolutely fuck all with both hands. I'm going to keep the 1.4 wheels on, probably with the wheel trims. But as you can see, it needs lowering. I've got 8 inches of clearance to the bottom of the sill on the front and 10 inches on the back. So I think we're going to drop it a good 4 inches all round, I reckon. Don't know if I showed you, made an air filter thing. Can't remember if I showed that, but yeah, I got a Blitz air filter and got that on. And then I'm working on wiring, by the way. Oh yeah, a couple of other things. Found a stupid gear knob. That's from my drift car, my MX-5 drift car that I used to own. And then I've been chopping the interior to try and make it fit. So I'm probably going to make just a alley bracket or something to, sorry, not a bracket, a blanking plate to come down here, and then I'll just build off of that. I can't work out whether to put an Android stereo in, which will connect to the ECU so that I can use it as a digi dash, but that will come out and like up here, so it will cover the white window buttons. Or I don't know if this is going to work, so I could ditch all of this and put a Raspberry Pi and use a Raspberry Pi as a dash. I'm actually working on trying to make as much of this original dashboard work as possible. Like all this stuff works lovely, like handbrake works. Cup holder, I was going to make, because I took the cup holders out that were down there for the cable clearance, and I was going to make a new plate with cup holders in, but I'm just not going to have cup holders there. I've got one there and that's enough. And then you can also put cups in the door pillar, so, or whatever, fucking bottles or something, I don't know. Got a vacuum line which goes from the inlet to the fuel pressure regulator and then into the cabin, and that's going to be for the map sensor. Got the wideband, that's just an LED that tells you whether the wideband's too hot or cold. And I've got more super seal plugs, so I'll wire that up and get that wired up to the ECU when your ECU's here. I haven't actually ordered an ECU yet. I'm speaking to people, but a lot of things are out of stock. Brexit's amazing, and coronavirus. Don't know if I've shown this, but fuel pump wire actually works. So yeah, I moved the breather tank and I need to put a port on it. I don't know what I was thinking with this port. I got two, like, whatever they are, 1/2 inch bore pipes going in, and then I got a 1/2 inch or 15mm odd bore feeding the two. That needs to be way bigger. So I think I'm going to put like an inch filter on the top, inch inlet filter on the top. Like this here is much better, being mounted here, because like all of the stay works properly, it's not a problem at all. Then I've got the original header tank. My main concern was like the height of the heater pipes and then the height of the radiator, and you know, just having trouble bleeding it. So I thought if I put that in there and then run on a Peugeot, they have a constant bleed from the top of the rad to here. So I'm going to run a constant bleed from here back to the header, and I'll show you what I've done to make that work as a constant bleed. Digestive biscuit. So you take this cap and you remove this seal, and then water can bypass and then out this pipe. Whether or not the metal piece underneath will try and seal, I'm not sure, because but in the past I've literally just cut that off and removed all the innards. That was when I had to use a standard S-body rad on my Skyline. But the Honda setup's slightly different, so to stop me having any major dramas, I've actually kept the seals. I think they're in here. Looks like I might have lost them already. I've got the seals somewhere, there we go, in there. So I can put the seals back in. This is my wiring box. I'm starting to run low on supplies, to be honest. These are pretty good for batteries. So you can have an inline fuse from straight from the battery up to your fuse box. Like, put that close as you can to the battery, so if it's in a short it will just blow. And then super seal connectors, and then I got like all the crimps, and under here I've got uninsulated crimp terminals, like ring terminals, and then butt crimps for just joining stuff. Uninsulated, always got to keep some of this stuff in stock. You never know when, like, and all this stuff is invaluable when you get stuck. One thing I've never got is females. Always run out of females. Got a couple there, but not very many. And then I'll give you a little bit of an idea really what I'm doing wiring wise. They are cheap and crap. They're snap-on, they're probably better, to be honest. So for the engine harness, I am going to be using sheath, and I've got this heat shrink, but this stuff here is too small to go over the butt crimps, the medium-sized butt crimps. And the small-sized butt crimps I've not found any use for. They are just too small. So, yeah, sleeving, heat shrink, all crimps. So that's how we're going to be doing the engine harness. Before we get to the engine harness, I rerouted this cable. You can't even see it now, it goes underneath the inlet manifold. I've got a weld on Boss from, this is one of the things I got from Exo Racing that you saw in the last video. It's absolutely mint. I mean, I might have put it in a slightly better position for this hose in a way, but whatever. So yeah, that's mint, love it. Got the Exo Racing cover on there with all the springs, or you know, beanie or blankie or whatever you want to call. All this heat shielding on the AN3 feed. That feels like it's got a bit of tension on it. And then heat sleeving on the loom. I absolutely love the loom. Completely hides it now. Like, yeah, you can see it, but you just don't notice it. And there's the heat sleeving I put on the cables and the heater hoses. And there's the thingy from above, the tensioner from above. So as you can see, I need a spacer in here, but I also need to get a longer bolt. And I don't know if you can see, but let's have a look. I'm trying to get the light on, sorry. Right, bear with. Can you see I had to chop part of the alternator away? I'm sorry about this. I had to chop part of the alternator away, and I had to put a spacer front and back, like a spacer nearer the front and then 3 washers at the back, and that's because I got the wrong alternator. So I just took about a minute to just show you that when I could have just said it. So let's just go back to normal zoomage. Right, so we're back on wide. Don't even know if I showed the breather pipes in the last video. I got a feeling I showed the fittings. I still fucked up on that one because it's still a cutter type. Pain in the ass. Like, these are like you slide them on and do them up and they clamp, and these are like the cutter type that cut the inside and they overbraid apart, blah blah blah. Anyway, whatever, it's on there. It's a breather pipe, it's fine. Then we've got down here fuel pressure regulator. So I think I'm going to end up putting the gauge in there and running a transponder in there, or vice versa, so that I can have fuel pressure. Hang on, light's still on. I can have fuel pressure. Oh, Christ. There we go. Yeah, I can have fuel pressure up on the dash then, and use it as a safety feature and data log it and all of that crap. Realise that this plastic bit goes the other way up, so I've swapped that over and it looks a bit better. Chop the bracket down so the bolts are vertical. And then this is pretty crazy over here. So this plug here comes out, and this plug here, they come out of the OE fuse box, and this is what was part of the original engine harness. And then I've got the original ECU in here, and I'm going through. I've cut, I hope I've got this right, but I've cut everything I didn't need, and I made a list of everything. I think it's over here. I made a list of everything I needed. No, I haven't got the list. Basically, I made a list of, oh, here we go. So to keep the dashboard and the body control module happy, I need alternator, speed sensor or VSS in the gearbox, coolant temperature sensor, oil level sensor, oil pressure sensor, crank position sensor. So I kept all of that on the ECU, standard ECU, and then there's also stuff from this loom like reverse switch, which is there, and I've already tested it. Just put those 2 wires on and it works. And then this wire here is ECU live from here, and that goes to like to there. And I've got the speed wires, 2 of them are there, and then there's 1 down here or something. Yeah, 1 there. And then this is ECU earth. Someone's already been in there, look, put that crappy old connector on there, so I'll swap that. All of this could be like chopped to length, soldered and heat shrank and you know, finalized, but I haven't decided whether I'm going to make it integral with the actual engine loom or keep it completely separate. I'm not sure, I haven't decided. And then obviously we've got the battery terminal, and in these 2 we've got one of them's a starter motor, so if I put that on there it clicks, but obviously I haven't got the battery terminal on, so there's no power. Yeah, so that's just a solenoid going out, and there's no power going to the starter motor. That's why it's not cranking. Then these 2, I think one's, maybe both of them are alternator, something to do with alternator. They might not be needed. I haven't decided what I'll do with them. If I only need the one wire, then I'll most probably chop all of this shit out and just have the one wire and get rid of this plug, and then make this one wire run in with this. There's a lot to cover. I feel like I'm babbling on a bit, but I made a servo pipe. It's ugly AF. I could replace that with an AN6 and then leave that as it is back there, cover it in heat shrink or something, I don't know, but I don't see the point because I want to change the inlet manifold, and I've got, like, I would like something like a Skunk 2 or something like that. Then you can see like the wideband again, it just goes up there, and the actual wideband controller, I wonder if you can see it actually. It's like a little thing, like I'm pointing right at it, but my finger's making a shadow, and it's like screwed to the bulkhead. But I wonder if you can see it from this side. You can see it better with the grey wire coming out. So yeah, the wideband's back there, the controller. Hopefully that'll work and not melt and get overheated. What else did I do? Fan wiring. So I'm using original fan wiring, and I've hidden it like in front of the radiator, but I really need to get the rad out the way or the bumper off and get up there and cable tie it properly. It can't go anywhere because of the intercooler bolts, and that connects in there and here, and then this is the relay, and then down here see that plug with the 3 wires going into it, and then that plug over there. So for some reason it had like 6 wires in one side and 3 in the other, so all I need to do is wire up that 3 wire, like cut one of them basically and connect it up to those wires all the way down there off of the fan switch that I showed you. So that's fucking relatively easy. If you look down there you can see the little wastegate beanie. I have no idea if it's going to help. I've got to put some gaskets in all of these places. Wastegate both sides, and the turbo needs gaskets, so I don't know whether to wait until I know it works and then rip it apart and do it, or just get on and do it now. What else? Guarantee there's other stuff that I'm forgetting. I got all the interior back together because I had it all ripped apart. Like down here, I had all these trims out so I could get to the fuel pump wiring and plug. So I've basically wired the fuel pump all the way back to the pump basically. Show you. This is a crank position sensor, and the plug, so I need to put a 60-2 toothed wheel onto the crank just to keep the ECU and have a rev counter, keep the ECU happy and have a rev counter. And then I've got this oil level switch, which I don't really want to modify the sump and make this a thing. So what I really need to do is just figure out the resistance when it's submerged, and then I will be able to just, what do we call it, find the 2 red wires, which are like these 2 red wires, and put a resistor in there instead. And then I could actually like come all the way back to here and do that and just put a resistor in there or whatever, just so it thinks it's full all the time. Are we really been on for 24 minutes? Right, last thing, and then I'm going to bugger off because I cannot believe I've been talking shit for 24 minutes. Fucking, I can't even... Right, so the last thing, this is the wiring. So as you can see, I've started to label coolant temp, oil pressure, coil positive, injector positive, and then we've got exhaust or inlet cam, exhaust cam, coolant temp, idle, reverse, speedo, coils, you get the idea. Basically, I'm working through it, but I may do something. Oh my god, I hate wiring. I love wiring, but I hate this. And I only get to do this like once every 3 years. And also I'm colourblind, so I just have to double check and trace everything. Basically that's it, the wiring. That's all I've got to say about it in a minute, because this is nearly 26 minutes long, this bloody video. So let me get off the camera, and you can go back to your day. Cheers then, bye.